Hello everyone, myself Sanat Kumar Swai, Assistant Professor at Vedang Institute of Technology. Hope you are all doing well. In today's class, we'll be discussing about the equity theory of work motivation. Okay, this is basically a contemporary theory in organizational behavior. We'll be going through a few slides and we'll see what equity theory of work motivation um, is all about. Okay, we'll be also looking at few examples and we'll try to find out the actual meaning of equity theory, how it help us in motivating at the workplace. Okay, so introduction. Okay, so how does the equity theory of work motivation came into play? So it was actually proposed by J. Stacy Adam. Okay, in the year 1960. So in the 1960, Stacy Adam, he proposed the theory. Okay, so according to him, he suggested that individuals are motivated by fairness and equity. Okay, fairness and equity in the workplace. So what do you mean by fairness and equity? What do you mean by fairness and equity? Fairness means the transparency. Okay, a fair way of doing work in the workplace. Okay, so it also posits that individuals compare the input like effort and skill. So whatever effort the individuals or the employees they are putting at the workplace, and whatever the outcomes they are getting, outcomes in the sense of like salary or recognition. Okay, what recognition are they getting from their immediate manager or the immediate boss? Okay, so to those of others in similar situation. Okay, so for example, in any organization, there are similar employees working in the workplace. So they try to compare. I mean, they compare their input. So what kind of effort and skills they are putting into that work, and what kind of efforts they are getting, whether it is a salary or whether it's a recognition from the organization. Okay, with compared to the other employees. Okay, so when they perceive an inequity, so inequity means sounds of like inequality. Okay, equity means equality and inequity means inequality. Okay, so what type of inequality they are facing at their workplace? Okay, then what happens that when they perceive an inequality, whether it is been under rewarded or over rewarded, under rewarded, okay, or over rewarded in relative to other, they are motivated to restore the balance. So there is a balance, there is a difference that whether they are under rewarded, okay, or they are over rewarded, okay, with respect to their colleagues or teammates at the workplace. So there is a differences. Okay, so they try to restore that balance. Okay, they may get motivated if they have been over rewarded. Okay, so this is all about the theory. Okay, so this theory particularly suggests that individuals are motivated by a desire for fairness and equality in exchange, particularly in relation to the input which they are putting at the workplace. Okay, or whatever contribution they are giving to they contribute and the outcome they receive. So what outcomes they are receiving at the workplace? So it is based on the equity. Okay. So particularly if you see that in Indian society, the equity theory manifests in various ways, particularly at the workplace. Okay. If you're looking at the Indian society, we can see that the equity theory, it does manifest in various kinds of ways. If you're looking at particularly at the workplace scenario, how? You see, salary disparity. Okay, so definitely there is a salary disparity at the workplace, particularly in the Indian scenario. Okay, in India, what happens is that there is a significant salary difference, difference of salary across various kinds of industries, various kinds of roles, or even if in the same organization. Even if you are working in the same particular organization, you will see that there is a salary disparity. Okay, how? So employees who perceive themselves as underpaid compared to colleagues in similar role may experience demotivation, okay, and resentment, leading to decrease in the job satisfaction and productivity. So definitely, an employee who think or he sense that he or she is being underpaid, or he is not getting that in output as compared to the input he is putting into the organization. Okay, and if he perceives that for that particular role his or her colleague, they are being overpaid, or they are being given more importance to that particular job role which he or she is working. So that resonates demotivation, that resonates resentment, okay, and subsequently that leads to job dissatisfaction at the workplace, and also leading to low productivity, okay. That may lead to low productivity at the workplace, okay. So salary disparity is one of the factor of inequity theory. Promotion policies, okay. What do you mean by promotion policies? Every company has got his or its own promotion policies, okay. So equity theory should be applied in the promotion theories, promotion policies in every kind of organization. How? See, what happens is that every organization has got their own policies, how and when to promote somebody, or how and when to make that policy applicable, okay. So what happens is that if an employee feels that they were passed over for promotion unfairly, especially if they perceive others less qualified being promoted, it can lead to dissatisfaction and reduced motivation. So definitely, you see, when you are being grilled, you are being properly, I mean, in a fair way, you have been promoted, but you sense that your colleague or your teammate or your fellow staff, they have been promoted unfairly. So again, that there is a resentment again, okay, and that also can lead to dissatisfaction and a reduced motivation. So what happens is that it is particularly evident in hierarchical structure. If you are particularly working in a hierarchical structure, okay, prevalent in many organizations, in Indian organization, you will see that there is hierarchy in the organization. So these kinds of promotion policies, default promotion policies happen in every organization. So that also creates resentment among the employees, and job satisfaction is very low at that point of time, and it also reduces the motivation level, okay. Next, resource allocation. What do you mean by resource allocation? What do you mean by resource allocation? See, resource can be anything, okay. While working in any organization, you will see that there is a resource. What kind of resource? Any kind of resource, okay. Human resource, that can be physical resource, that can be information resource, that can be any resource, okay. So while working in any organization, if there is a equal distribution of resources, okay, and the workload is equitable, then that creates a teamwork. But if one team member consistently receives more resources, okay, let's say in a team, a particular team member, it is receiving, he or she is receiving more resources, okay, or lighter workload. For example, if there is a assignment which has been given to a particular team, so there has to be that workload, or that resources has to be equally distributed among the team. But if one team member is receiving more resources or lighter workload as compared to the other team members, so what happens is that it leads to feelings of inequity. Again, it also leads to inequity among the team members, okay. So potentially resulting in decreased collaboration. So there is a decreased collaboration, there is a no cohesion, okay. There's no cohesion in the team, in the team work, okay. So subsequently the teamwork fails to achieve the goal of the team, okay. So resource allocation also serves one of the important aspects in equity theory. Perception of favoritism. See, this happens in every organization, where irrespective of small or large, you will see that perception of favoritism, it does stage in most of the organizations. How? Nepotism. You must have heard about the word nepotism, okay. Particularly nepotism. How did the word come into play? Bollywood. Okay. So this term came into play through Bollywood. Okay. Where nepotism, you can find nepotism at the highest level. Okay. Favoritism. I don't want to give you work. That's my own choice. You cannot complain, irrespective of whether you have a lot of talent, you have a lot of skills. But it's up to me if I want to give you a job or not. Okay. So particularly in these kinds of industry, you will see that nepotism or favoritism works in a vast way, in a huge way. Okay. So it's not about only about Bollywood case, but it is about every kind of workplace in the Indian scenario. Okay. So what happens is that when certain individuals receive preferential treatment, okay, or personal connection rather than merit, most of the cases you will find that choices are being made according to their preference or according to their personal connection, okay, rather than their true merit. Okay. So what happens then? It creates a sense of injustice. Definitely, it will create a sense of injustice, okay, among the employees, affecting their motivation or morale. Definitely, okay, your morale will be affected. Your morale will be affected because definitely you must have thought about going through merit, okay, achieving a certain goal through merit. But when you see that some person has been given preferential treatment or due to their personal connection, okay, rather than through the merit, so that create a sense of injustice within among the employees, and their morale is gets decreased. Okay. So this is also one of the case of um, equity theory. Okay. Performance appraisal. Okay. So what do you mean by performance appraisal? Definitely, when you are working in any or institution or any organization, you will see that there has to have a appraisal related to your performance, how you are performing at the workplace. Okay. So equity theory also applies to the performance evaluation and the various kinds of award which is been given after the evaluation. Okay, be it in terms of salary hike, be in terms of promotion. Okay, be it in terms of anything. Okay, so what happens is that if the employee perceives that their performance is not accurately assessed, when you feel that your job or your hard work is not properly assessed, okay, or the reward that are unfairly distributed, it can lead to dissatisfaction and reduce motivation to perform at their best. But definitely, when you being a very hard working employee, you feel that your hard work has been ignored, okay, or not is not been assessed as it should be assessed, okay, and the rewards which have to be distributed, which is not been distributed fairly, so that again leads to resentment, that again leads to dissatisfaction, okay, and there is a reduced motivation level, okay, and subsequently the work has been hampered, your production level, productivity has been hampered. Okay, so this is also one of the aspects of equity theory. Okay, now we'll go through few examples. Okay, let's say, for instance, let's consider a scenario where two employees in Indian IT firm A and B have similar qualification and experience. So let us consider that there is an IT firm, and in that IT firm there are two employees. Let's say A and B, they have got similar experience and they have got similar qualifications as well. Okay. Now what happens is that A receives a higher salary, okay, and more opportunities for career advancement due to personal connection. So A has personal connection rather than B. Okay. While B, despite putting in equal and more effort, receives fewer rewards. Okay. Both A and B have got equal qualification and have got equal experience as well. But employee A is getting more salary, this is getting higher salary, and also more opportunities in his or her career. Why? Because he has got his personal connection with the management. Whereas B is also putting a lot of effort, okay, but as compared to A, B is not getting that much, he is getting fewer rewards. So what happens in this situation is that equity theory predicts, okay, that B will likely feel demotivated and may seek ways to restore equity, such as by voicing concern to management or seeking opportunity elsewhere. So what happens is that there is a difference. Okay, so there is a difference among A and B. Okay, so what will happen to bridge that difference? Now, employee B, what B is going to do? B is going to restore that equity. How? Maybe by voicing his concern. He may ask the management to. He may voice his concern to the management. Okay, or that employee may leave that organization altogether, or he may seek employment or better opportunity elsewhere. Okay, so there is the equity. Okay, that A and B is trying to bridge or restore that equity. Okay, are you getting my point? Like, these kinds of examples, these kinds of issues happens in every kind of organization. Okay, so equity theory comes into play. Next, key components of equity theory includes. So what are the key components? Okay, so when equity theory has been applied in any kind of organization, now we are going to look at the key component. What are the key components? Okay, the first one is input. Okay, what do you mean by input? When you are working in any organization, you will see that you are going to put in your effort. You're going to put your time. You're going to put your skills into play. Okay, and of course your experience and dedication. So those are your inputs. Those are your inputs which you are going to give to the organization you are working. Now, what are the outcomes? Your outcomes may be reward or benefit or any kinds of salary which you are going to get, salary, recognition, promotions, and job satisfaction. So these are the output in respect to your input which you are putting in an organization. So these are also few key components. Next, comparison. Okay, comparisons which can be internal comparison, which can be external comparisons. Okay, now individuals compare their own input output ratios to those of others in the similar positions or in the similar roles. Okay, so these kinds of comparisons can be either internal comparison or that can be external comparison. So what do you mean by internal comparison? Internal comparisons means comparing one's current situation to past experience or expectations. Okay, means you are comparing your current situation to your past experiences or your expectations, maybe your past experience or your expectation that you are going to expect in the future. Whereas external means comparing one situation to that of others in the same organization or industry. Okay, in internal, what happens? Internal comparison, you are comparing yourself, okay, to your past experiences or your expectations which you will be having in your future. Okay, whereas in external comparison, what happens is that you are comparing somebody else's situation, not your own situation. Okay, so when you are comparing somebody else's situation, okay, that person, he or she may be in the same organization or from the different industry. Okay, so what happens is that these individuals compare their own input or output ratios, okay, with those of others. So this comparison involves assessing whether the rewards are proportional to the efforts and contributions made. Individuals may compare themselves with peers in similar roles, horizontal comparison, or with those in different positions, vertical comparison. So definitely, you see, they may try to compare again themselves with their peer groups. Okay, so if they are going to compare themselves with their peer group in the similar role, so that is known as horizontal comparison. Okay, that's known as horizontal comparison. And when they are going to compare themselves with different positions, okay, or different roles, then that is known as vertical comparisons. Okay, so within that comparisons also there are two types of comparisons. One is horizontal comparison and another is vertical comparisons. Okay, next, equity. Okay, so what do you mean by equity? Sorry. So equity means there's a ratio of the input versus output. Okay. So what is the input and what is the output? Okay. Whether the input, the ratio of the input which we are going to put to the to the output or outcome, which we can say, is when we are perceiving that it may be equal to the ratio of input to outcome of others. Okay. For example, is okay. A has got certain ratio of his input versus his output, what he is going to get. With respect to B, so what is the ratio of B's input with respect to output? So that happens that um, if both are equal, okay, if both are equal, then that is known as equity. Okay, if both are equal, then we can say that this is equity. But if that is not equal, if A and B's ratio are not equal, then we can say that this is inequity. This is inequity. Okay. Now, inequity means when individuals perceive a dissonance between their input and output compared to others. So, equity means it is similar, it is same, and inequity means it is not same with the ratio of yourself with others. Okay. Now, what is the reason behind that two inequity? Inequity takes two forms, like under reward and over reward. Okay. Now, what do you mean by under reward? Under reward means you are not being compensated as you should be compensated. So that is the under reward. Over reward means that you are being compensated, your outcome exceeds, means whatever your outcome or your output should be, okay, that exceeds as compared to the inputs which you have contributed. You have contributed less, but you are getting more. So that can be termed as over rewarded. But in case of under rewarded, you have put something, but you are getting less out of that outcome. So that is known as under reward. So this is the two forms which is based on inequity theory. Okay. Now, key principles of the equity theory. So we have discussed about the components of the equity theory. Now we are going to discuss about the key principles of the equity theory. So what do you mean? What are the key principles of equity theory? See, in case of equity theory, okay, there are few principles like when the individuals perceive inequality, they are motivated to restore balance, as we have already discussed. Okay, so these can lead to various kinds of behavioral responses. Your behavior starts changing when you feel that there is some sort of inequity in the organization. How? Increasing or decreasing effort. Okay, definitely when an employee or when an individual, they may feel that their level of effort, which whatever their effort which they are putting in the organization, and they are not getting that kind of outcome as perceived, or there is lack of fairness, okay, then there is a increasing effort or a decreasing effort. How? For example, if someone feels under rewarded, they may decrease their effort to align with their perceived level of reward. So every employee, every individual, they have their own perception of their outcome, or their own perception about the reward which they are going to get after putting certain input into the organization. And if they feel that they are being under rewarded, okay, then what happens, that may decrease their effort. They are going to decrease their effort. Okay, whatever effort they are going to put, they were putting earlier, so they are going to decrease those effort. Okay. In the other case, you can see, so that is the decreasing case. In the increasing case, let's say if you feel or an individual feel that whatever they have perception about the reward or about their output, if they are getting fairness in that, then they may increase their effort. Okay, so that's a vice versa case. Okay. Anyways, now seeking change in outcome. What do you mean by seeking change in outcome? You see, whatever the outcome may be, okay, so what happens is that the individual working in a particular organization or any institution, what they do, that they may seek change, they may want to have some sort of change, okay, in their whatever their perceptions of reward or outcomes to achieve equity. Okay, so how they are going to seek changes? That can be, they can negotiate for a little bit higher salary, okay, or they may also ask for certain responsibilities, additional responsibilities, or they may request promotions. Okay, okay, so that changes can be in any that can be in terms of higher salary, that can be in terms of various additional responsibility, or that can be in terms of promotion. Okay, so the individuals, they may ask for these kinds of changes. Now, changing the comparison group. What do you mean by changing the comparison group? Okay, so for example, in reference, okay, how equity theory comes into play? When we are referring somebody, okay, when we are in comparison, we are comparing somebody. So when we are comparing, then only equity theory comes into play. So if we are going to change that comparison group, how we are going to change the comparison group? By individuals may change the reference group they use for comparison to reduce the feeling of equity. For example, if someone feels under rewarded compared to colleague in their department, they may start comparing themselves to individuals in other departments. So it also happens, but particularly it is the role of the HR. Okay, it's the role of the HR to point out the inequity. Okay, how? When we are comparing ourselves to other colleagues in the same department, we may change the comparison group by comparing ourselves to other departments. So that may bridge up, okay, that may bridge up the equity, the balance. Okay, so that may restore balance in the equity, okay, by changing the comparison group. Next, salary comparison, which everybody does. Okay, that's a very common thing that most of the employees, they compare their salary. Okay, so what happens is that when the employee, they start comparing the salary with the other employees, okay, in the same position, okay, how they feel that with their same qualification, with the same experience, they are being under rewarded. So that creates demotivation, they get demotivated. Okay, so this is also one of the effects. Okay, next is promotion decisions. Individuals may assess whether promotions are based on merit or favoritism, as we have already discussed in the previous slide, that may be through merit or that may be through nepotism or favoritism. Okay, so if they feel that the promotions which are happening in the organization is not been awarded fully fairly, then that can lead to feelings of inequity and reduced motivation. Okay, so promotion decisions are also one of the aspects. Okay. Workload distribution. Okay. Workload distribution, what do you mean by workload distribution? For example, when there is an assignment and the workload is not being equally distributed among the employees in that particular team, so that also creates some sort of resentment in the minds of the employees. Okay, so workload distribution is also one of the aspects of equity theory. Okay, next, performance recognition. Definitely, your performance has not been accorded properly. When your performance is not been accorded properly, then there is a greater chance of inequity. there is a very extremely greater chance of feeling of inequity. Okay, so definitely performance recognition is also one of the aspect of inequity theory. Okay, right. So we got through all the slides, and we have tried to discuss the basic aspects of the equity theory. Okay, and how does it plays an important role in the organizational structure in terms of Indian scenario. Okay, so while summarizing it, we can see that equity theory provides valuable insight into the understanding work motivation in Indian society, emphasizing importance of fair treatment, equitable distribution of resources in fostering employee engagement, productivity. Yes, definitely. You see, we need to understand the equity theory. Okay, why we need to understand the equity theory? Because that provides an valuable insight. Okay, how the work motivation is playing in our Indian society, in our Indian organizations. Okay, and how by providing the fair treatment, what is the importance of fair treatment? Okay, and by providing fair treatment, how equitable distribution of resources foster employees engagement and leading to high productivity. Leading to high productivity. Definitely, that may create high productiveness. Okay. Next, understanding and addressing equity concerns in the workplace is crucial for maintaining high levels of motivation, satisfaction, and performance among employees. Definitely, when we are going to address the equity concerns of the employees at the workplace, so that what that does, that it helps to maintain the high levels of motivation, it maintains high levels of satisfaction, and it maintains high level of performance among the employees. Okay, so we cannot ignore equity theory once and at any cost. That is a very crucial theory for any kind of organization within the, if you are talking about the Indian sector. Well, that can be applied for any kind of sector, but particularly if you are talking about the Indian sector, that cannot be nullified or cannot be looked upon. Okay, next, equity theory has practical implications for organizations, and it highlights the importance of fairness in the workplace. Definitely, we need fairness at the workplace. Okay, without fairness, that is going to create resentment among the employees. Okay, so the managers need to ensure that their policies and practices are perceived as equitable to maintain employee motivation, satisfaction, and productivity. So the managers, they need to ensure, they need to make the employees understand that whatever policy they are going to create in the organization, that should be perceived as an equitable policy. Okay, and that should be maintained. Employee motivation should be maintained. Satisfaction, they are going to get satisfaction, and their productivity level should grow up. Okay, now, additionally, understanding equity theory can also help organization design reward system. What are the reward system? Okay, what kind of reward systems we are having in the organizations? Okay, what kind of policies, promotional policies we are having in the organizations? Okay, that should be perceived as fair and just by the employees. Okay, so with this we have come to the end of the slide. Okay, I believe we have gone through all the slides and have understood equity theory. And even though if you have any kind of further doubts, you can jot down your doubts, and we'll be more than happy to clear off your doubts. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time. Okay, thank you.